ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the ECSI Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it is that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll. This morning, good friend, colleague, Mr. Terry Smith, CEO, founder of AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com, here to talk some woes of the Braves, a little dog talk as we're getting closer to football, see if anything is happening in Atlanta Falcon territory. Maybe a little cherry on top of some French Open for Mr. Alcaraz, as he just an epic comeback. We'll get into that when we get there. And then Scotty Webb in around 10:35. MLB Weekend recap as my Red Sox found a way to win a series. I have no idea how. They take 2 out of 3 from the Yankees. And they get set for his Tampa Bay Rays to come into friendly Fenway right now. So first and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play, download the app. It is free. And of course, AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Terry Smith, the best in the business. What do I tell you guys? Jump on over to Facebook, follow Terry Smith, introduce yourself. Then head on back to AtlantaSteaksAndSeafood.com. Steaks, chops, seafood, appetizers, wine. Terry's got it all. He's also got 4 subscription plans. Set it and forget it. Every 30 days, Terry will deliver a beautiful box of protein to get you through the month. The only thing you'll need is an extra propane tank. So without further ado, Mr. Terry Smith. Morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Dawson. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's June 9th. We're a month away from the All-Star break. We're getting close to the halfway point. My Red Sox, your Braves flopping in the breeze. Might as well start here. What the hell is going on with the Braves?
Oh, man, where do we start? This is sort of uncommon for us. It almost feels like the 70s again. But we're not a good ball club. Basically, it's we can't hit with men on base. Our pitching just kept us in there what we have left. But the bullpen's sort of tanked. We just don't have the relievers we had the past couple of years. And then when we do score, we pull a Falcon and give up 7 runs in the top of the 9th. So another just our 1-run losses have just killed us. I think we lead the league, and y'all are probably second. But it's it's just tough to lose every day. But I'd rather get killed by 10 runs than lose the way we're losing. It's just people aren't producing that have produced in the past, and everybody's hit is is sort of just flailing away at one time. A lot of guys down here in the noise is, well, we shouldn't have signed them to those long-term contracts like we did. But everybody was praising it 2 or 3 years ago. We had a rookie of the year and a player of the year. He hit 1,000 home runs a couple seasons ago, and these are the same guys. So it's just strange and awkward. But we hadn't had a losing year in many, many years. So maybe this is one.
I go back to spring training. We had you on a couple times. Scotty Webb, who's coming on after you. We talked about the Braves. I have in tow over, I think it's 92.5, over under. And I had the over. I had the Braves winning the East. Obviously, those are looking like confetti and doilies at this point, but it was funny the way it was structured. Hey, let's find a way to get through April. We'll have Strider coming back. We'll have Acuna come back, and we'll be okay. And Strider comes back, and then he gets hurt. He goes back on. Acuna comes back. Acuna offensively has been fine. I mean, I can go through and dissect just like you the ineffectiveness with runners in scoring position. Ozzie Albies just a shell of himself. Sale is done well. Schwellenbach had his first 2 games were great, and then after that he's kind of floating in the breeze. I'm going to ask you a tough question, Terry. Your manager, it's the last year. He's made it clear. He's made it clear to everyone this is his last year. Do you do him and the team some injustice and say, hey, do you pull the plug on the manager?
It's tough. Yes, the other talk of the city here, other than, we're just not hitting. He's been with the organization his whole life, 50 years. Minor league coach. I mean, just devoted to the Braves. Good man. Half the city saying, hey, he's not the one pitching and hitting and making base running errors. Yet, he's the one that, that they listen to, or right now it looks like there's no listening to him. The message is not getting through, but man, it's just a tough call. I mean, I think they would, in my opinion, I think Walt Weiss is going to be our next coach. That's my leaning. Great guy, knowing, and that would be a great hire, I think. Knows baseball and knows players. But boy, this is such a tough call. I don't care which way they go with it. If they do it, it's going to shake up the clubhouse and maybe some more accountability. And if not, let him go up the last 4 months and see what happens. So it's just a really tough call with a good man.
I like the Walt Weiss, a great major league ball player. One of those dirty, gritty, reminds me like a Pedroia, gets dirty and loves the game. That's the funny thing. The boys of summer, you're playing a kid's game and you're getting paid a lot of money. So you can tell the guys that really enjoy it versus the other guys that it's a job. And that's the hardest part, where the inmates are running the asylum. As you said, the manager. Same thing here in Boston with Alex Cora. I swear the team has tuned him out. And when that happens in baseball, it's like the Titanic. So, Falcons, OTAs, mini camps were well underway. Any more news on the Kirk Cousins?
We don't know, man. We're throwing it up in the air. Somebody said he might go back to Minnesota and back up J.J. McCarthy. It might be a good deal. I still don't see how it's going to play out here with the team, after what he pulled after the season, how it's going to be in the locker room and on the field. But, but they're pros. If Penix goes down, we got a good backup. So it's now with Rodgers finally signing with Pittsburgh, which I think that's going to be great for them. So I think there's not many places he can get this out there for him.
Yeah, and that's the funny thing. I guess if you get through the camps and one of the starting quarterbacks go down, and if it's a team that thinks, hey, we need a veteran to come in because we think we're right there versus the backup. So you do have options. I think if the Steelers and Falcons wanted to have made a deal, they would have made it a long time ago. But Rodgers finally signs the diva. What a waste of time that is there.
I think more of the news is Pitts. And that's the one in the news here. Tight end. He's never fulfilled his potential here. Maybe lazy a little bit. Has maybe the Julio Jones practice routine, maybe a little bit. But that's the one they're talking about moving and what we can get for him.
And I actually heard the Steelers might be interested. Yeah, Kyle Pitts. And the sad part is you drafted him early, but he was quote unquote a generational talent, and he's flopped in the breeze. And you see the success of the young tight ends. You saw what Brock Bowers did last year. Of course, as you know, Brock Bowers better than anyone else. So it can happen, but it just hasn't happened with Pitts. And let's stay there. Georgia Bulldogs. What's going on in dog country?
I think Georgia's getting ready. There's not much talk about them. We're still going to stay with Stockton Bennett. He's, a lot of the news is mainly with the Braves. A little bit of another month here, we'll have the Birmingham SEC meetings, and that all start cranking up, and everybody be drooling for some football. So we're almost now there with the Braves. We used to do it at July 4th a long time ago. Now it's we were ready for football, and so it's just sort of quiet on the Bulldog front.
All right. And I know you're a big tennis fan. You always play tennis. I'm always reaching out. History yesterday, the men's French Open finals. Skinny. Yeah. Versus Alcaraz. And the funny thing is that at one point in this match point, Sinner up, plus minus 10,000, 5-3, match point, 40 love, and then what happened, Terry?
I think Alcaraz has some inner Nadal come out of him, and man, that was awesome! What a comeback! I'll play a lot of tennis here in my young old age and try to stay in shape. But that was an amazing, just will, gut, just coming from your heart, your gut, and grinding something out, and just hey, showing what you do when you never give up. Just reminded me, McEnroe yesterday was saying, well, what are we going to do with the big three gone? Well, I don't think we have to worry about that now. I think we'll see these guys, barring an injury, they're going to be there for another, 10, at least 10, 12 years. Battling each other, and these guys that sort of missed their window yet, Zverev and a couple other ones, but I don't think they're going to be competing with these two. Just a great display of talent yesterday and heart.
Almost like an outer body experience where to battle all the way back and to get to the final set, and usually then once you get there, you're out of gas because you pulled one out of you know what, and then just to come all the way back. If you didn't see it, YouTube it because it was something special.
Yeah, even Sinner came back down in the last set. So, that was some just huge shifts of momentum. And my wife had gone out, came back. She said, you hadn't cleaned up the house. I said, I'm not going to. And I'm busy. And so it was, she overlooked that a little bit, so that's good.
Quick commercial break, and Terry, tell us about AtlantaSteakSeafood.com and what you got going this week.
Yeah, got some Father's Day specials out there for you.
Okay, give me 1 second.
Thank you.
Welcome to Good Food. At Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, you'll find the highest quality meats from a variety of delicious cuts, tomahawks, salmon fillets, ribeyes, and plenty more to choose from. With an easy-to-use, mobile-friendly website, selecting your pick of meat is made quick and easy. And don't forget, worrying about your dinner is a thing of the past. Check out some of the amazing subscription packages that Atlanta Steaks and Seafood has to offer. Fresh steak and seafood straight to your door. Order online at atlantasteaksandseafood.com.
It's Father's Day weekend. It's, we get one day, and seems like the mothers and the Mother's Day get 364 days, but it's our time to shine. It'll be the final round of the U.S. Open, of course. Terry, what do you got to offer for Father's Day weekend?
Well, Dad doesn't want a shirt or some shoes, or he wants some steak. So to make him happy and his grill happy. So we have a special this week. Any purchase of $1.99 or more, you can put code DAD, Dad, in the cart exit, and you'll get 6 free Wagyu burgers or 2 prime 12-ounce New York strips. So you can pick out which free item you want to get. So great deal. Only spending $1.99. 6 8-ounce Wagyu burgers come with it free, or 2 of our 12-ounce prime New York strips, and that'll make any dad happy across the country. I know it'd make me happy. So if you order by Wednesday, well, if we can get it out by Wednesday on a 2-day ground, you should have it by Friday. So if anybody can order, go to atlantasteaksandseafood.com, place your order, and just put at checkout, just put the code DAD, and we'll get it out to you and make some dads happy.
Amazing offer. Terry, we can't thank you enough. We're going to start to pick up the pace. We're going to start grabbing you as we get closer to Atlanta Falcon territory, Georgia Bulldog territory, and of course, maybe your Braves and my Red Sox can wake up and we can have some actual meaningful baseball as the season progresses. How's that?
That sounds good to me. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there. And it's always U.S. Open weekend too, so can't go wrong either way.
Terry Smith, go follow him at Atlanta Steaks and Seafood, atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Go over to Facebook, follow Terry at Terry Smith. Tell him JD from ECSI sent you. Terry, thank you as always. Enjoy your week, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Peace out.
Take care. Terry Smith, go follow him at atlantasteaksandseafood.com. Remember the promo code DAD. Any order over $1.99, you can't beat that. 6 Wagyu burgers or 2 New York strips. I might have to run back to that window myself. Up next, Scotty Webb. The Rays are invading friendly Fenway Park, and with that offense that he's got rolling, I'm a little nervous, so stay tuned. ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. The Rays are coming. The Rays are coming. Mr. Scotty Webb. What's up, Scotty?
What's going on, man? It's a new week in Major League Baseball. That week was over, so now it's another one coming up.
Well, I hear with the Red Sox lose on Friday and, big favorites that we talked about on Sunday, the Yankees. We had Crochet on Saturday, ended up being, an offensive output by both teams, but we found a way to win. But going into Sunday didn't look good. Down 2-0, tied at 2-2, down 3-2, of course, and then the bats stayed awake, and we found a way to hold off the Yankees, so they didn't put us out of our misery. Surprised?
No. I've been trying to say this for I don't know how many weeks now. The Red Sox are a frustrating team. They're not a bad team. I don't like to watch them play. But they're frustrating because they're actually better than what they're showing in terms of what the record is. And I was just kind of looking, some of these teams, if you like the Red Sox right now, the Red Sox are only 4 games out of the wild card. And, before you can start talking about winning the East, you got to get into the wild card, right? So they're 4 games behind, and they just passed the Texas Rangers and the Angels. So there's 2 less teams in front of them. So there's the Royals, Mariners, and Guardians who are in front of them, and then they're actually going to compete to try to get into the playoffs. So Major League Baseball teams go on streaks, and they run hot. And I don't remember the Red Sox ever running hot right now, but if you were to take teams and say, let me go back to that screen I had just a second ago, and you go in and you look at it and go, teams in the last 30 days. Right now, the best three teams, there's three of them. 3 teams in the last 30 days are 20-10. And then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more teams that are 19-11. So 10 teams went 20-10 or 19-11. If the Red Sox were to do something like that, now or in the next week or two, they're right there. They're going to pick up 4, 5, 6 games, because the other teams are going to go, 15-15, something like that. So they're going to pick up, 5 or 6 games in that time span. And in that time span, those 5 or 6 games puts them in the playoffs. Or puts them in the wild card anyway. So I don't think the Red Sox are dead by any stretch. I think there's a lot of, downtrodden feeling coming from them, but I don't think that there's any reason why you couldn't put them in there. Now, these teams that have went 20-10 in the last 30 games, the Yankees, the Cardinals, and the Twins, I don't know if you would have picked any of those teams, but those 3 teams are 20-10. And the Tigers, Mets, Cubs, Astros, Blue Jays, and Rays, 19-11. I don't think anybody would have picked Rays to go 19-11. Maybe not even the Blue Jays to go 19-11. So why can't the Red Sox do the same thing? I think they can. And, I also think to do some of that, sometimes a spark catalyst kind of thing needs to happen, and that changes the attitude. And then all of a sudden they also see things in a very positive thing. And it could be something like Trevor Story gets hot and everybody else is hitting, but Trevor Story, because he got hot, helps drive in the runs and they win the games. Or they call up the kids, or they do whatever. I don't know. I mean, I'm just saying, there's a lot of things that still yet to happen that can put the Red Sox where they are, or they can stay where they are and be, 5, 6, 7 games out of the wild card.
The other series that I wanted to talk about before we have you start breaking down some games, you've been talking about this for a while. Round 1 here. Dodgers travel to San Diego, May versus Pivetta. Pivetta, the bulldog that used to pitch for us. I don't know why we let him go. Carrot Top for the Dodgers. The Wild Wild West. A series where San Diego can make a statement, or the Dodgers can say, hey, not so fast.
Well, there's some of this stuff I think you have to really start looking at from a perspective of away teams and home teams. The Dodgers get the biggest lift of any offense at home of any team. On the road, they're not nearly as good. I mean, their record on the road is 500. I mean, of course, that's what you want to be, but at the same time, that means they're very susceptible to getting beat. And the Padres, their record at home, I think they're like 20-9 or something. I got it right here. Situational Padres at home, they're 20-10. That's pretty damn good. Good teams win dominantly at home. So I think that, everybody wanted to buy into this Dodgers team. Now, on a piece of paper in April or March, when you're looking at them and you see Blake Snell and, all these other pitchers out here that are now hurt and their arms all fell off and they got to put them back on, all of those guys, this is not the same Dodgers team, but it will be later. So if you want to beat the Dodgers, you got to beat them now. You got to get it and get it right. So this is a big series, I think, more for the Padres than it is for the Dodgers. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, let me look at my schedule for a second. When I pulled this up, looking at stuff before, I'm pretty certain that this week the National League West is going to sort itself out a little bit, because schedule-wise, so tomorrow, for example, the other series. San Francisco plays Colorado, so that's going to be good for San Francisco. They're going to beat these teams. Arizona, they get whoever they get this week.
Seattle to start.
Seattle, but then following that, you get the Dodgers are going to play. The Dodgers get San Francisco, which is obviously a rivalry matchup, and then you get Arizona and San Diego. So these teams are going to all kind of battle this week in these games, and theoretically, if the Dodgers, the Dodgers will be home against San Francisco, but if the Dodgers win a lot of these games, they're going to separate. But if San Diego wins a lot of these games, they might take over the National League West. And you could look at San Francisco the same way. I just don't think their offense is good enough. But it's just one of those things where you got to start weighing out who's going to do what. Like, I'm waiting on, Arizona's offense has been really good, and they just haven't been able to pitch, which is surprising because of the guys they got to pitch. So we'll see how that kind of shakes. What does it look like in that division? And this will be a fun week, come this time next week, Monday, and we recap what happened with the National League West, because these teams are all playing each other, and it should be an interesting situation for those teams.
Well, let me see. 4, 5, 6, 9 games to break down. I'm going to bring you to the forefront and let you do what you do to see. I know it's early. It's almost 11 o'clock, but you can talk today's board. How's that?
Yeah, it's good. It's all good.
Okay.
However you want to do it, my friend.
All right. Give me a second.
All right. So, honestly, looking at today's games, there's 9, and I think today's a difficult day to bet. So the first game is Miami and Pittsburgh. Now, Miami's not any good on the road at all, and Pittsburgh's not really that great of a home team. Pittsburgh's throwing Burrows today, and he's not, he's an average to below average pitcher. Now, what's interesting in this game is Eury Perez. Name out of the ghosts, I guess, if you want to call it that. He's kind of like an ace. He's really good. Now he's making his season debut for Miami, and we'll just have to see kind of how this game kind of progresses, because I'm not willing to jump in the first time he goes out and pitches and go, yeah, okay, he's going to be the guy that we need. The line on the game. If I pull it up real fast, I got it right here, is Miami plus 107, Pittsburgh minus 111. And looking at the offenses right now, Miami's minus 18%, weighted runs created plus, so that's not good. And Pittsburgh's minus 25. So now you got 2 bad offenses, so to speak, and who's going to pitch better? Well, I don't know the answer to that question. I will tell you that theoretically, if it were the middle of the season and Eury Perez has pitched 5, 6, 8 times, Eury Perez is going to be the better pitcher. But coming off the disabled list, or injured list, I guess is the right word, I'm not willing to go and put the money there. Now, I will say that, Miami's been fairly competitive. Pittsburgh has been a little better as of late in terms that, if I go pull the situational numbers, Pittsburgh in their last 20 games, I don't know if you know this or not, but they've got a winning record. They're 11-9, and the Marlins are 7-13. The Marlins in their last 10 are 3-7. They've only won 10 times on the road. So I don't want to back that. So I think that becomes where you kind of look at it and go, how do you want to try to look at this? How do you want to try to bet it? Because ideally you can start looking at totals and team totals and different things. And if Yuri Perez is good, Pittsburgh's not going to score. And Miami has a better chance to score. But, coming off the injured list, these guys aren't the same. It takes a little while. He doesn't have – now he's been in the minor leagues throwing, and I think he's threw 6 times in the minor league. So he's been throwing, and not only has he been throwing, he was good. That doesn't mean he's going to be good today, but that's kind of what you're looking at in that game. So if you want to take a flyer, and I call it a flyer, I think Marlins is probably not necessarily a terrible spot, other than they don't win at home or on the road, and they've not been good in the last 10 games. Neither team are hitting though, so it's just hard. It's hard to support teams that are not hitting, and quite honestly, most of the teams have fallen into that we're not hitting status. So it's kind of weird, how these teams go through some of that. So the next game is another situation similar to this. You got Cincinnati and Cleveland. Cincinnati is a team that they in the last 10 are 5-5. The last 20, they've got a winning record, 11-9. They don't mind playing on the road. They're 15-17. They're actually a better road team than they are home team, and they're playing Cleveland, who's 18-13 at home, which is good, but it's not like the great where you need to be. So Cleveland's home field edge isn't really there, and it really shows up when you look at the offense. Cleveland is minus 9% weighted runs created plus at home, and Cincinnati is 0. So that means they're 100. They're exactly average on the road. So that gives, maybe Cincinnati a little bit of edge here. The problem that you run into in this particular spot is you got Wade Miley. Wade Miley's 50 years old. He's got gray beard like I do. So, 2-3 years ago, Wade Miley was one of those wily veterans that found a way to get outs. I'm not sure he's still that same guy, and he's pitched 2 innings so far this year in relief. He's going to start today. Now, I don't mind him starting today, especially because he's left-handed, and truthfully, Cleveland is one of the worst teams in Major League Baseball currently against left-handed pitchers. They are minus 33% to an average offense against the lefty. And when it comes to just, what's their record, they are 4 wins, 11 losses against left-handed pitchers. Hey, Marty Lowe. So I sit there and I think, what can you do here? Can you really back a guy like Wade Miley? Well, you got to look at the other pitcher, right? Well, Luis Ortiz, arguably, and Tanner Bybee have been the best pitchers that Cleveland has. So they're going to throw out basically one of their best pitchers today against the guy that, it looks like me out there. So I can't, in my mind, I'm not going to go back Cincinnati, especially when you consider the fact that Ortiz has been pretty good. And when it comes to looking at, data and numbers, he's got a 3.64 Sierra number, which is an average number. It's not a great number. It's just an average number. But it's closer to getting to a great number than it is moving higher. So, and his WPA is positive 0.57. So when he needs to get the outs, he has been. His game score is 51 year to date. In the last 7 games, he's a 55. So he's been an above average pitcher. So that's going to be a tough game. Cincinnati is going to need a lot of help, and they're going to need their bullpen to hold up. And you know what Cleveland's bullpen is like, right? So, and then that line in that game is Cleveland minus 148. It's too high, and I don't want to pay it. A, and B, I think that there is a possibility because they're 4-11 against left-handed pitchers that it's a bad matchup for them. It's kind of fun to watch, the Chicago Cubs and the Philadelphia Phillies play, especially if they were both good. Philadelphia is 1-9 in their last 10 games. They are the worst offense in Major League Baseball currently. They are 51, I think it is. Where is it at? There it is. They are 51% worse than an average offense right now. They score 2.7 runs a game, and they're going to play the Cubs. And the Cubs, they score they score a lot of runs. And the Cubs love away games. The Cubs are 27% better offensively on the road. But here you go again. You got a better offense in the Cubs, but you got a great pitcher in Wheeler. And Wheeler is one of those guys that is really good, and he's off a bad start. So you got to figure he's going to throw good. The Cubs are going to have to try to find a way to win. Cubs bullpen's probably better right now than what the Phillies are. So if you want to take a chance, because the Phillies do get a kick at home, at home the Phillies have been really good. They are 19-12 at home. The Cubs are 20-14 on the road. But it's one of those spots where, what are you going to do? It's either dog or nothing in my mind. Phillies are -116. Take a flyer on the Cubs, I guess. You can do that, just like you did with the Marlins, and take a flyer with the Marlins because of Eury Perez. You're not asking these teams to do too much different than what they've been doing. And Boyd's been pretty good for the Cubs. The Cubs get Imaniga back. He's getting ready to go do a rehab starts, and he'll be coming back. He's kind of their ace. But at the same time that he's kind of their ace, he doesn't match up really to some of the aces that are out there. So, the Cubs need to go find or get a pitcher that can, be in these spots when they make the playoffs and match up to the other team's number one, or they're going to be, looking at the outside in again, or hoping that their offense can do something. But they need some pitchers. They need a good starting pitcher anyway. Baz and Bello. So this is one of these interesting games. These are the same pitcher. So if I were to tell you that, let's go back over here and look at it from this level. So Baz Sierra number's 407, Bellows 454. So basically the same number. When it comes to WPA numbers, Bellows a little worse, but Baz is still negative. These guys, Baz has better stuff. He just doesn't do a very good job. So the difference between the two pitchers, Bello controls home runs better than Baz. Baz gives up tons of home runs. He's given up 2.67 home runs per game per 9 innings. And that is the worst on the board today. Whereas you've got Bello, who doesn't give up but 2/3 of one or 3/4 of one. And then you've got a situation here then where, okay, well, that's good news for Boston, but Bello walks everybody. So he can't throw strikes. So as he can't throw strikes, he puts guys on base that gives the Rays a chance to get runs that way. So both of these two pitchers are kind of like the same guy in a sense that they struggle that way. Baz has a 6.67 strikeouts per 9 and Bello 7.61. So, and then offensively, Jeff said, hey, here comes the Tampa Bay offense. And the offense has been really good. Right now, they are 15% better than an average offense. But Boston is 56% better than an average offense. So that tells you that, even though that Tampa Bay has been good, they got to get a little bit better here. The offensive rank is 8th for Tampa Bay and 1st for Boston. Boston's number 1 in baseball right now on offense. And this stuff, fluctuates all the time. So that's why I kind of keep it in the shorter segments so you can capitalize on when teams are hot. And Boston is number one. They score 7.8 runs a game right now, and the Rays score 5. Maybe, looking at, I don't know what's the total in this game. The total's 8.5. I don't know what the weather is. I haven't a chance to look yet, but this looks like a pretty good over kind of spot. Now, I will say both teams' bullpens have been pretty good too. So you're not necessarily going to pile on a bunch of runs on these bullpens. But it's hard to pick a winner in these games, and especially the number is, kind of flat. It's a minus 108, plus 103 kind of number. My number in the game is probably very similar to that. I have, let's go back there and get it. My number in that game is a little higher. So I have Boston at minus 130, and, the number is 110, 115 or whatever. So might be some value there on the Boston side of things. Now, keep in mind, this is that, travel day for the away team on a Sunday night. They don't do well. So, that shies me away from, trying to ride Boston here. Plus, Boston and Tampa Bay, these guys play each other all the time. They know each other. So it's not like it's going to be one of these, crazy, I shouldn't say that. Like we just saw, and we talked about it on Friday, Boston played the Yankees, and all these numbers, totals wise, if you just bet the over, you would have been fine in all three of those games, because they were like what they had been like for years. Those two teams, they just scored. It didn't matter who pitches. They just hit the ball and score. They find a way to get it done. Tampa Bay and Boston's not quite the same reverence in their, relationship that they have. Atlanta and Milwaukee, this is one of those spots where you really run into an issue of trying to support. You're trying to back the Braves because Sale's really good, and Savali's really bad. But Savali, since he came back from the injured list, he's 2-1. So it's about time to figure out whether you're going to support him or not. But the interesting thing there is, Atlanta's offense is 31% worse than a regular offense, but Milwaukee's is 21% worse. So you got two bad offenses. So that should mean that you can get a pretty good performance out of Chris Sale. And then when you looked at the numbers in terms of bullpens and stuff, you got a better bullpen in Milwaukee than you do in Atlanta. And then, with Atlanta's offense the way it is, it's really hard to support that. And especially when you consider that Atlanta in the last 10 games, they're 2-8. 2-8 in the last 10 games. And I get it, but they just find ways to lose now. But the last 20. In the last 20 games, they're 5-15. Now, remember, I think they are 2-13 when Ronald Acuna came back. Ronald Acuna was supposed to be, he's the spark plug and the best player that they got. And he's not hitting poorly. He's not playing bad. But it just goes to show, what the rest of the team is like. They're just not there. And again, Snicker's on his way out. And, I don't know that they're listening to him. I don't know that they're getting anything going. This is a team going nowhere. And that team, I think, is done. That if looking at the schedule but looking at their standings and where they are in the division that they play in, and they also play in the National League, there's a lot more teams that they got to compete with to get to where they need to go. And if you look at them right now, that standings chart, they are better than where's the standings chart? There it is. The Braves, they're better than the Pirates, the Marlins, and the Rockies. That's it. Nobody else. They're not better than the Nationals, Diamondbacks, Reds, Brewers, Cardinals. They got to go past all those teams. And, we talked about before, Boston's 4 games out of being in a wild card spot. The Braves are 9.5 games. So imagine if they went 15-5, they might not pick up. Well, say they picked up 5 games. Well, they need to do that twice. I think they're done. I think, call it, was it June 9th? I think the Braves are done. So just a matter of, what they're going to do and what they're going to do with their talent, and if they're going to sell or whatever, a trade deadline, and see what they can get out of it. They're an interesting team for sure, because they are a much better team than what they're showing, but their offense has just been bad. And I looked earlier, and their bullpen has not been good at all. Iglesias is now not closing for them either anymore. So then the question becomes, do you really want to bet on Savali? My mind is no. So, again, this is a minus 150-ish type number. I'm out. I don't want to bet the Braves because that's too much money, too much to lose. And then, Toronto is a surprising team. They're doing really well. And Barrios has been part of that. Barrios, whatever you want to say. He's been pitching very well as of late and helping them, after Gosman, and trying to get this team going some. And the St. Louis Cardinals have been a surprising team to me this whole time. Because, last year they finished, I think, 4th in that division, and now they're 2nd, and, they're over 500 and playing pretty well. And Palante, he's pitched 12 times, and then 12 times he's pitched, the Cardinals are 7-5, and he's just an average pitcher. But Barrios has been controlling the opponent's offense. They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. They don't like the road at all. So Toronto is a different team on the road. When it comes to offense, they are negative. Where are they? They are negative 17% on the road. And the Cardinals love being at home. They're a 20% boost at home. And you saw what they did with the Dodgers. So my opinion is this is going to be a spot where you bet Cardinals or nobody. And the Cardinals, I'm looking at, minus 106. I don't think that's a bad number necessarily. And then when you start to think about kind of what my number in that game is, I think that it's going to be, here we go. I've got Cardinals. I've got to basically pick them minus 102. So, I think the number's probably pretty close to right. But again, these are not easy games to bet because there's not value in them. And then you look at the Angels, who are playing the A's, and the A's are going to throw Springs today. I know it wasn't listed that way, but it's not listed that way because they're probably going to have an opener for him. He's been, he's a soft tosser, and he's got to figure it out against the Angels and Kikuchi. Now, I don't like either team in this game because, the Angels have been playing a little better, but the Angels, Kikuchi, he's not the best pitcher they got. I think Soriano probably is, but at the same time, his metrics don't show that he's going to be good in this spot. He is let's go back to starting pitchers there. He's a 548 Sierra number. He's the worst one on the board today. So I'm not betting the worst pitcher on the board today. That's just not going to happen. And I get it. The A's haven't been good at all. If you look at what the A's have been doing, they are 3-7 in the last 10 and 4-16 in the last 20. That's not good, but they are a better away team than they are home team. I know they're 14-18 on the road, so they haven't won, but offensively they get a jump. And the Angels are a better road team than they are home team. They've only won 12 times at home. They're 12-16 at home. So this is bad setups for both. The Angels are 3-6 against left-handed pitching. And I know that I don't know who the opener is going to be, but they're going to face more of Springs than they are anybody else. So he's left-handed. I don't like it that way. So I just passed on that one. And then the fun game, right? This is the fun game. This is May and Pavetta. So the Dodger game. My line in this game is Padres minus 102. So basically it's a pick'em game even. The actual number in the game is Dodgers minus 115, 112. I don't know. Profit X is 112. So when you're looking at it from that level, I'm looking, okay, I want to bet Padres. I don't want to bet Dodgers. But as I looked at this game and started started breaking the game down. Go to this numbers. The bet points wise, both pitchers are under 4 Sierra number. You got a 3.06 and a 3.24. So both of them are good. They both get the points there. Neither one of them in the last 7 days, it's not 7 days, last 7 starts, hit the 53 game score number. 53 is, slightly better than average. They both hit 50.6, 50.9. So they've been average pitchers in the last 7 days. They both control the guys when they get on base, they get them out, that kind of stuff. But offensively, there's no question who's the better offense. It's the Dodgers, but the Dodgers haven't been hitting. The Dodgers are minus 9% weighted runs created plus, but the Padres are minus 32. Look, I can't bet teams that don't hit. The Padres are scoring 2.4 runs a game. Do you think that's enough to beat the Dodgers? I don't think so. But the Dodgers are scoring 3 runs a game. And they're facing, Pavetta. Maybe they don't score that many runs. I don't know. So maybe this is an under situation. And so I started looking at this bullpen wise. Neither team go crazy. The biggest differentiator here, and it's kind of that way for the Dodgers on most of the stuff. When they face a right-handed pitcher, they're 39% better than an average offense. 39. That's a big boost. They lose some on the road, but the Padres just haven't been able to hit. And if you think about their lineup and how they construct it, you've got Tatis at the leadoff spot, and he's over 800 OPS, and then you have the little guy that plays first base. It was a second baseman. Whatever his name is, came over from the Twins, Arise. So you have Arise bat second, good contact guy, makes a lot of hits. And then you got Machado, who's batting over 300, and then Merrill, who's batting over 300, both of them over 800 when it comes to OPS. And I sit there and I go, those 4 guys are pretty good. And then they follow that up, and they have Cronenworth and Bogarts and Sheets. Why can't they score runs? This is an offense that should produce a lot of runs that hasn't. So I haven't figured that part of it out yet, and they haven't been able to pitch well enough. Cease has been, supposed to be their best pitcher, but he's so off and on. And Pavetta is really good, and Michael King got hurt. So, and Darvish is nowhere to be seen other than running around in the minor leagues. Their bullpen has been good, but it's, I think, worn out. So, it doesn't get and same with the Dodgers. Their bullpen's worn out. So who really does have the edge here? May hasn't been great, but he's kind of like their best pitcher. I mean, I know Yamamoto is going to be listed as their best pitcher. He's going to look good, but statistically, May's better than Yamamoto right now. So I don't know. It's kind of a weird spot. But if I'm doing it, if I'm betting Padres. I'm betting Padres 20-10, at home, against a 500 Dodgers team on the road that had to just travel back from St. Louis after being a losing of 2. The game I really wanted to bet, I need to figure out how, looking at numbers and lines and all that. It's the Diamondbacks today. I want to bet Diamondbacks. I got to figure out how to bet Diamondbacks. When you start to think about it, they're playing Seattle. Seattle's not a good home team. They're a much better road team than they are home team. But you got Hancock on the mound, and Hancock is not just an average pitcher. He's a below average pitcher. He's a 4.49 Sierra number. 46 is his game score. Remember, 50 is average, so he's well below average. And he doesn't get the guys out when he needs to, and he gives up 2.03 home runs per game. Well, he's facing the Diamondbacks. They hit home runs. They're at home. They score a lot of runs. They're a good offense. And they're facing the Diamondbacks' very best pitcher, Merrill Kelly. Merrill Kelly's been awesome. He's been really, really good. His Sierra number today, 2.56. His last 7 starts, he's a game score 62. 62. Aces are 60. So he's right there with the aces. He's one of the best pitchers going today. Sales is 67, for example. When he gets on base, he gets them out. He doesn't let them score. So he controls the home runs. And offensively, you're going to have all the points go to Arizona, and Seattle is all about Cal Raleigh or nothing. So they don't hit the mark when it comes. They're 4% worse than an average offense. They score 3 runs a game. They strike out a lot. They don't walk ever. So they got to get a base hit and a Cal Raleigh home run, or they're not going to score. So I like Arizona's chances here to do well. And then bullpen wise, they're unbelievably, they're about the same as it turns out. Arizona's bullpen is normally bad, but they're getting better. And Seattle's bullpen, who's normally good, is kind of bad. Those teams getting, they go through cycles. So here's the big thing, right? So Arizona against right-handed pitchers, 25% boost. 25, that's a big number. And at home, they get a 20% boost. So I think Arizona is the right side here. It's just a matter of how do you want to do it. Right now, I'm looking at minus 154. I don't know if I want to pay 154. So I was thinking about, look, I kind of like the idea of first 5 minus a half a run, but I've got burned on that the last time I played them. But Arizona, I think they can score off of Hancock, and especially early. I think that number was like minus 135 or something, minus 130. So I kind of like that. I think Arizona is the if you're going to bet anything, they're the ones who are going to win against Seattle tonight. So Jeff, I don't really have much more to break down on games unless people have questions about specific things. Today I sent you the bet sheet, but I also sent you a new thing. So like I make my numbers, right? I make my lines, and then I do a handicap of the game. And when I come up with the handicap of the game, it's a bet score, and the bet score has whatever, 25 to 55, whatever the numbers come out to be. So now I got a program that will take, and I call it, I don't know what to call it. It's just a combo sheet now. So what it does is it takes my betting, my Webby odds, my numbers that I think are up in the game, and then it combines that handicap, and then it produces a value score. So now I'm looking at, say, for example, it tells me that theoretically I should bet Pittsburgh today. Well, maybe I should, but I don't want to bet against Eury Perez because I don't know what he's going to turn out to be or what he isn't. It tells me I should bet on Cleveland today. Well, I'm vetting all of that. I sit there and go, look, Cleveland's 4-11 against left-handed pitchers. They're minus 33% against them. I'm not going to do that. It might be the right thing to do, but I'm not going to do it. It tells me I should bet on Boston or Atlanta today. Okay, great. Well, I'm not going to go pay minus 160 or 180 or whatever. So then you got to figure out how to bet it. It tells me I should play on the Angels today. Well, I just sat here and told you, the Angels don't do very good against left-handed pitchers either, and they're not very good home team. So, but this is the purpose, is to find these spots and find where they are. And the biggest one that it comes up with, it's Arizona. I can see it, plain as day. You don't need these sheets to tell you Arizona is the right side. It's just a matter of how do you bet the game. So anyway, that's what I'm looking at. Hey, McGinnis Picks, how you doing, brother?
Good morning, Andrew. Welcome. We'll be back. Andrew will be here tomorrow is Tuesday, 10:20ish. 10:30, if my memory serves me correct. We'll talk NHL and CFL with Andrew. I just pulled that up. The one, I guess I'll ask you this. The Phillies are in a free fall right now, and you got Phillies minus 19.82 with the Cubs at a plus 16.02. Boyd versus Wheeler. Would you try to dive into the bee's nest here with the Cubbies?
I don't mind that, not at all. I don't mind it at all. My only drawback to that's going to be is Wheeler's off a bad start. So So if Wheeler's off a bad start, I'm going to assume he's going to give up 1 or 2 runs. Can the Phillies score 1 or 2 runs against Boyd, even though they're doing bad? I don't know. If they get a boost playing at home. Their boost at home for the Phillies, where is 13%. They're 13% better at home. But you know what's amazing is the Chicago Cubs. They're 28% better against a right-handed pitcher. And they love the road, man. They're 27% better offense on the road. So even though the Phillies get this bump at home, it is not as good as the Cubs. And you know what I like about, say, like the Cubs and teams like the Cubs, which would be like maybe the Rays a little bit, is you're not dependent on Cal Raleigh to go hit a home run to win the game. They got every batter in their lineup can win the game. And you know, when you go up to bat, you think they're going to get a hit. And you know, like even the Yankees or the Red Sox or some of these teams, they put guys in the lineup. You sit there and go, this guy's an out, that guy's an out, that guy's an out. And then what do? They get up there, they make outs all the time. So the Cubs don't have those kind of guys. The Phillies do. The Phillies bottom into their order. They can't hit. They make outs all the time. I'm not sold on the Phillies bullpen at all. So I'm not afraid. I am certainly not afraid to say, hey, Cubs are the right spot. The only problem I run into is if I go look at this sheet, Boyd's last 2 starts, Jeff, game score 67 last time out, and the time before that, 72. He's due to get crushed. You know what I mean? Like, because Boyd's his season numbers are 54, just above average, right where he really should be. That's what he is. And the last time out for Wheeler, 37. And then the last time he threw a bad start, which was he ain't even on this board, you know, not even 5 games ago. So I can't go back and look at it. But these guys that do that are aces, his number for the season is a 62. That's what aces do. They're that good. He threw a 77, 73, 79, 70. 4 straight times. That's hard to beat. You know, that's kind of like your Paul Skeens going out there and throwing the way he's been throwing, you know, and the Pirate offense not scoring. It's kind of what he's running into with Wheeler right now. So I sit there and think, how do you bet it? I mean, I don't have a problem at all with Cubs. You know, it's just a matter of I'm going to stay off of it because I think Boyd is ripe to get hit, and on the other side, Wheeler is ripe to not, and control even a good offense like what the Cubs have. So Wheeler is in games against the Cubs, he's a game score 57, so just under the 60 number, and his ex-WOBA against the opponent is 2.75. That means they're not going to score. You know what I mean? Like that's best in baseball. So I sit there and I go, he's going to pitch good tonight, and the question is can Philadelphia hit? And you know, Bryce Harper's on the DL, so IL, whatever. So you know, you run into, well, Turner's been playing halfway decent, but where's everybody else? Where's Bohm? Where's Schwarber? Where's all these guys, you know, that need to do all this stuff and drive? Where's Castellanos and all that? You know, there's and Kepler and you know, the catcher and stuff. Those guys need to start really pulling their weight because they haven't been.
Well, as always, we thank you here. We'll have you back on Friday in the afternoon for Friday Night Bright Lights. We'll go over what's going on throughout the week. Of course, some big series. Rays come to Fenway. Out west, Padres host the Dodgers. As we always wrap this up, Scotty, tell them where they can find you, your work, wherever you need it.
Well, the best way to get a hold of me these days is just on Twitter. Just follow me on Twitter, and And then as you do that, like I would love to have lots of questions and different things. I know I break down the games and stuff, but if you had questions about stuff, I would love to be able to answer them and kind of go from there. And whatever it is, what it is. So if we don't have questions, we're all good. Makes for a quick show, and I can go to the grocery store.
Tomorrow, 10:20 a.m. Andrew McGinnis at McGinnis Picks at Wager Talk talking Stanley Cup Game 3 tonight. The Panthers host. The Oilers tied at 1. Then the NCAA insiders are back as they're getting ready to head to Omaha. We'll find out tonight the last piece of the Final 8. Duke playing Murray State. We'll have the NCAA insiders as they'll be live starting late this week in Omaha for the Final 8. The road to Omaha is going to be something special. Matt Grissom's Arkansas Razorbacks will be there, and a lot of good stuff coming. Wednesday, Brady Cannon, 11 a.m., U.S. Open. So we got a lot to get ready for. I want to give a shout out to Marty Lowe, a shout out to Andrew McGinnis, everyone else watching. If you haven't already, jump on over to YouTube at East Coast Sports Investors. Subscribe. It's free. We're working on 12,000 subscribers. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB. Everyone have a blessed day. Enjoy yourself. It's a new week. Fresh start. Stay tuned.